Ryan Reynolds once seemed untouchable in the Marvel universe. His wisecracking portrayal of Deadpool was beloved by fans, and his off-screen wit made him a marketing treasure. That's why the news that he was suddenly let go from Marvel shocked everyone, but the fallout didn't end there. Rumor has it Deadpool 3, once a sure bet, has been axed. And in a move that no one saw coming, Hugh Jackman is also allegedly on the chopping block, meaning Wolverine may be canceled too.
I just kind of cast it as, oh, he's losing his marbles. Better. I think I would have been a much more patient person. I think my father would have felt way less alone.
In a span of weeks, the studio that prides itself on stable, long-term relationships with fan-favorite actors is rumored to have let go of two of its most iconic stars. Fans feel whiplash from the abrupt announcements. But as more receipts pour in, it's clear this chaos didn't materialize out of thin air. There's a storm behind the scenes involving Ryan's wife, Blake Lively, and filmmaker Justin Baldoni, a storm that apparently swept Wolverine into its path as collateral damage. When Marvel's reps officially confirmed Ryan's departure, the immediate question was, why would they fire one of the biggest names in their stable? Sure, actor shakeups happen, but rarely do they come with such a final, no second chances tone. Then, the rumor mill churned out something even more dramatic. Not only was Ryan supposedly done for good, but Deadpool 3, a project fans had tracked breathlessly, faced complete cancellation. Almost in the same breath, the allegations hit. Hugh Jackman, Mr. Wolverine himself, was also out. Early speculation pointed to concerns about unethical, behind-the-scenes conduct that Marvel wanted to distance itself from. But how did Hugh Jackman, widely admired for his professionalism, end up in the crossfire? Some whispered that his cameo in Deadpool 3 placed him too close to the controversy. Others suggested that, in the eyes of Marvel and Disney, it was safest to cut ties with every major figure who'd gotten tangled in the dispute. While none of this was confirmed directly by the studio, the possibility left fans reeling at the thought of losing two beloved Marvel mainstays overnight. To grasp the gravity of this situation, we have to rewind and examine Justin Baldoni's role. He's known for directing and producing heartfelt, emotional stories that cater to wide audiences. When news broke that Justin would direct a film adaptation of a cherished novel, excitement soared. Add Blake Lively's star power, and it looked like a brilliant match between a compassionate director and an actress with mainstream appeal.
I'm honored, and I'm also more honored that because, what we're talking about is so important and so meaningful.
You had a key part in bringing it to the big screen. How did this all come to be?
I read the book. I was sent the book by my book agent and friend at the time, and I was looking for films that could inspire, that were able to have this much anticipation, and so many people want to go see it and are talking about it. That's what I'm grateful for.
Beneath that initial enthusiasm, rumors began swirling about conflict. People close to the production said Blake felt overshadowed by Justin's multi-hyphenate involvement. He was at once a director, co-writer, and slated to star. Some wondered if it was just a clash of egos destined to blow over once filming ended, but soon, the friction escalated in an unusual manner. Blake accused Justin of orchestrating leaks to the press to make her look difficult. The entertainment world, eager for juicy on-set drama, took notice. Many quickly sided with Blake, highlighting the grim reality that in Hollywood, female leads often get labeled too demanding by male directors when they push back creatively.
She said, just read it, because I was looking for movies that could be commercial and speak to the human experience. And
Were you reading romance novels?
She said, just trust me, read it. So I read it. I couldn't even read the text on the page because I was crying so much. My wife was in bed next to me, and she's got snot coming out of my nose.
It's believing that people and humanity are inherently good.
And being frank, if it were not for women giving me direct feedback in my own personal life, being a man who was willing to at least listen to them, there's no chance that I would be having this conversation. So the message, to answer your question, as men, we need to embrace all of the parts of us.
Yeah. Then came the turning point. Justin Baldoni dropped receipts, timestamped texts, and digital conversations, showing that he might not be the manipulative director some believed. Instead, these logs indicated that Blake herself had been referencing her dragons, a code word for powerful friends in the industry. She warned that if she didn't get certain script tweaks, marketing angles, or even scheduling perks, these dragons would rally to her cause.
I mean, I internalized that as opportunity. We had such a responsibility to this audience to deliver something for a passionate group of people.
Yeah.
I was so excited about that. I would so much rather have that than people who are indifferent.
Blase.
Those same messages named Ryan among others, suggesting he was aware of Blake's strategy. In fact, the logs hinted that Ryan was actively shaping narratives in private messages and calls, coordinating how best to spin public opinion. At that point, Ryan's involvement was still overshadowed by Blake's direct conflict with Justin. After all, Ryan wasn't physically on set. People wondered, could he be guilty of more than just moral support for his wife? But the saga took an even darker turn when rumors circulated that any cameo or future collaboration with Ryan, and possibly those close to him, was under review by Marvel. Observers thought these claims were overblown, until the day Marvel publicly parted ways with him. Normally, Ryan's comedic brand and philanthropic persona keep him above scandal. He's the friendly star who banters with fans on social media and cracks jokes during interviews. This time, though, the leaked texts hinted at a more calculated side. They suggested strategic maneuvering to paint Justin as incompetent or unyielding, and thereby justify any demands Blake made. When Marvel caught wind that Ryan might be part of a behind-the-scenes campaign to sabotage a respected director, they grew uneasy. Their entire business model relies on high-profile collaborations with minimal controversy. Over the years, Marvel has parted ways with actors facing legal or ethical storms, and while they often do it quietly, the news still gets out. But the uproar didn't end with Ryan. Word spread that Marvel was also rethinking how to handle any project connected to him, meaning Deadpool 3 was suddenly in limbo. The real shocker came when rumors started swirling that Hugh Jackman, expected to reprise Wolverine in Deadpool's next adventure, might be collateral damage. Insiders claimed that Hugh was not personally involved in any drama, but found himself in the blast radius of Ryan's meltdown. If Marvel wiped the slate clean of all controversies, that might mean removing anything associated with the canceled Deadpool film, including Wolverine's cameo. In an era where negative headlines can torpedo a movie before it even hits theaters, Marvel found itself in a precarious place. Ryan Reynolds was key to the comedic tone and massive box office success behind Deadpool. Fans adored him. Hugh Jackman, meanwhile, is practically a walking legend. Wolverine turned him into a global superstar, and many were thrilled to see him step back into the claws. But once more proof of underhanded behavior surfaced, Marvel had to decide: protect the brand or cling to star power? According to inside sources, the final straw came when Justin Baldoni threatened or promised, depending on perspective, to make a second round of receipts public, detailing the lengths to which Ryan, and by extension, perhaps others in his orbit, went to control the media narrative. If that bigger data dump tied Ryan's name to more unflattering tactics, Marvel's reputation could sustain lasting harm. In the end, top decision-makers reportedly agreed they had no choice but to cut ties, leading to Ryan's abrupt dismissal. Around the same time, the rumor ignited that Deadpool 3 was canceled outright, rather than being recast or reworked. For fans, this was almost unthinkable, given how the character had revitalized the R-rated superhero concept. Then, the speculation widened to Hugh Jackman's future. Would the studio keep him on, or was his association with the now-axed Deadpool project enough to end that partnership too? Within days, the rumor that Hugh was also out began circulating. Though some found it impossible to believe Marvel would lose two icons at once, the scuttlebutt wouldn't die down. The public response was immediate and intense. Social media platforms exploded with theories. Some insisted that Marvel was overreacting and should have pursued damage control instead of burning every bridge. After all, Deadpool had become a cultural phenomenon, and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine cameo was considered a once-in-a-lifetime treat for fans. Others believed Marvel did the right thing. If the receipts revealed serious wrongdoing, no star, no matter how popular, should be above consequences. Hollywood insiders pointed out that Marvel has a history of carefully engineering its brand to be welcoming, family-friendly, and free of major controversies. Overlooking or downplaying any scandal could haunt the studio in the long run. In that sense, removing Ryan, and possibly Hugh, could serve as a loud statement. We will not compromise our integrity for anyone, no matter how big. Then there was Justin, who stayed calm. He released a series of clarifying statements, but avoided gloating or calling for heads to roll. He simply presented his evidence, said he needed to protect the people working under him, and let the chips fall where they may. Meanwhile, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds went radio silent. So did Hugh Jackman, fueling even more speculation that perhaps he'd also been quietly axed. If everything around Deadpool was getting scorched, Wolverine might not be spared. So, what does this mean for Ryan's future? Despite a comedic brand that once felt invincible, his image has taken a major beating. Fans wonder if he'll apologize or try to reframe the messages as taken out of context. Some in the industry say a redemption arc is always possible. Hollywood loves a comeback story, yet others point out that if Marvel felt forced to let him go, there must be solid, possibly incriminating evidence that would make a quick rebound unlikely. Hugh Jackman's predicament is more puzzling to fans. He's always been seen as a stand-up professional, rarely mired in controversy. If he's truly fired, is that an indirect result of aligning himself with Ryan and the canceled Deadpool 3, or did something else come to light? So far, no direct allegations have been made against him, yet the rumor mill claims Marvel wants a clean break from any tangential links to the fiasco. In the bigger picture, some see this as Marvel opening the door for a complete creative reset. With beloved characters off the table for now, they could pivot toward introducing fresh heroes and fresh faces. That might reinvigorate the brand, though cynics argue that losing both Deadpool and Wolverine is a huge blow. If Marvel tries to recast Wolverine yet again, it risks alienating fans who only see Hugh Jackman as the iconic clawed mutant. Ultimately, the abrupt exit of Ryan Reynolds, the rumored cancellation of Deadpool 3, and the alleged firing of Hugh Jackman show that in Hollywood, no level of fame is a free pass when the spotlight turns harsh. Even the tightest comedic or heroic persona can shatter if strong evidence emerges of unethical or manipulative behavior behind the scenes. If Marvel, famed for building long-term collaborations, opted for drastic action, it signals a real tipping point in how controversies are handled at the highest levels. The question now is, where do we go from here? Will Ryan and Hugh Jackman find a way to clear their names? Is there a last-minute negotiation that might restore Deadpool's cinematic future? Or will the new wave of Marvel films move on entirely without them, forging new fan favorites in the process? At the center of this controversy stands Justin Baldoni, quietly trying to finish his adaptation, while the press fixates on the bigger scandal overshadowing his work. For viewers, the greatest shock may be realizing that big Hollywood power battles don't always end with a neat handshake. Sometimes, entire films and careers are sacrificed in the name of damage control. Regardless of the final outcome, one thing is certain: this saga is far from over. Fans, industry insiders, and casual onlookers will be watching every hint, leak, or rumored behind-the-scenes meeting to see if there's any hope of reviving what might have been Deadpool's and Wolverine's swan song collaboration. Until then, we're left questioning how a single creative dispute spiraled into a meltdown that claimed not just one superstar, but possibly two, and left Marvel reeling in its wake. Where does that leave the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Only time and the next round of revelations will tell. As the story continues to unfold, there's always more to discover. Thanks for tapping in now. Like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you're the first to know when more secrets come to light.